Hello. You know, I could probably make 1,000 videos and probably will. So I can't touch on all the subjects I want to talk about in one video. But, I don't, like my nails. Anyway, so hard to get these done in prison. So I got a little free time out of prison. So I'm going back to my psych prison on Tuesday. So it'll be a while before I make another video after Tuesday. Not long, but a couple of weeks. Anyway, I don't know. So tired of Epstein. I don't like watching the news anymore. It's really not the news. It's Trump TV. And that's all it is. Every story is what Trump said or what Trump did or what Trump's cabinet members have done. And it's all crap. It's all crap. And just like he's going after all the Biden's people and the Democrats and stuff. Trump's little minions are going to they're all going to go after the minions of Trump when Trump's not there anymore, and they're all going to jail and whatever else. So, or Trump will give them all a pardon before he leaves, like Biden did. I'll bet that happens. So that's why they do what they want right now, because they know they're going to get a pardon if they get caught. But some of the names that are on Epstein's list and Epstein's now emails, the list is turned into the emails, is astonishing. And it's really not, it's really not. Because if you know rich people, and I know rich people, I grew up in Old Westbury, New York, and that's highly rich, highly rich people. Mansions on every block, and everywhere you go, there's a mansion in Old Westbury. But, those people, they're really good at making money. They're really good at running a company, making it profitable and all that stuff. But you know what they're really bad at? And because, when you run a company, you have a certain power structure. You're at the top and everybody else is below you. Everybody has to answer to you. Everybody's a yes man to you. And, when you have that kind of scenario going on, it works good for making money. It works good for having a mansion in Old Westbury and stuff. But it's horrible when it comes to meeting women, finding love, which most of them, no matter how much money they have, no matter how many Ferraris they own, they don't have love. Trump doesn't have love. Trump's whole family can't stand him, But they tolerate him because they want his checkbook, But and they don't know how to make it without him, because if they walk away from Trump and his money, they're done. They don't have no way of making money, Of course, they would have to capitalize on their name and their bloodline, but that's not making money. That's still using Trump to make money. So they have no way of making money on their own. But and the rich are all like that. They're rich kids, they're rich kids. They can't make any money. Why? Because they know how to play Call of Duty on PlayStation. I don't know what their talent is. I don't know what they know, But they're not educated because they don't care to be educated because they know they got daddy's money, so they're not pressured to learn anything or come up with a great product to open a great company because daddy's got the company, daddy's got the product, so they don't have to do it. Maybe they want to come up with a new video game, but the competition with that is tremendous, and what's his face? No, Ivanka's husband, David Kushner or whatever. He owns EA Sports football, Madden football. He didn't make Madden football. He couldn't make anything. I'm sure he can't even play Madden football, but he owns it. So, and he sold it to the Saudis that gave him billions of dollars for it. Because probably all the royals in Saudi, they play Madden football. They love Madden football. That's why they bought it. So, the rich class, it's all a joke, you know, when you go to a 5-star hotel in Manhattan and you have like the penthouse suite, you know, you get a mini bar and you get a prostitute. If you want 2 or 3 prostitutes, you can get that too. You know, so it's like part of the room, it's part of the bill. You know, you get a prostitute. So, and I would assume it could be a 13-year-old prostitute if you want. You know, whatever. It could be a man. It could be a boy. Not a man. They don't want men. They want boys. So anything goes. Anything goes. And you know, when you get in that penthouse, the cameras go off. You know, it's all privacy. Nobody talks. Nobody says anything. Everybody's paid off to shut up. And you know, look, these people can't pick up. They can't pick up girls. They're not interested in girls because, or women. Because women have an opinion. Little girls don't have an opinion. You know, and when you're the leader of a company, you don't want people with an opinion. You don't want people that can maybe overrule you. You know, you're in charge and nobody else is, and that's how you feel, and that's how these rich people act. And with, you know, look at Musk. You think anybody's in charge of Musk? You think any of his wives have any control over Musk's life and tell Musk what to do? That's why he has 12 of them. You know, now by the time he dies, he'll have 50 of them. And he was on Epstein's email list too. So, you know, the richest man in the world can't get laid. That's what that tells me. So what's the money do? I tell you, money can't buy happiness. And it's so true. And not only does it not buy happiness, it deters happiness. It takes it away. It makes it more impossible to find. It's like when you have money, happiness goes and runs away and hides because you can't find it. And every time you get close, it picks up and it moves and it hides somewhere else. So it's a never-ending story in that way. But we all search. We all go to the 7-Eleven and buy the scratch-off cards because we want to be rich and we want to be happy. But the minute you win that scratch-off ticket, happiness runs away. You will never be happy. You will never be happy. And when you lose all that money, because you will, especially if it's a scratch-off ticket, you're not going to win that much with a scratch-off ticket, but you'll only be happy. Your happiness is fleeting. As soon as you find out how much tax you're paying, there goes your happiness. You know, so, and when the money's gone, how are you going to find more? How are you going to make more? You're going to go back to your $5 an hour job and go make that money again? No, you're going to buy more tickets with that $5 an hour job. That's what you're going to do. Buy more tickets so you can win again, which, you know, the odds on that. So, the world's a fucked up place. And it won't stop being a fucked up place because you want a scratch-off ticket. Yeah, it just doesn't happen. It just gets more fucked up, not less. You know, I own NewYorkLotto.com, so I know a little bit about the lottery, and I know a little about winning it. I didn't win it, I owned it. So, you know, it's a little different. But, and I sold it. It was crap. It wasn't worth owning. You know, $1 ticket. You got to sell a lot of tickets to make money, and I just wasn't interested. So I tried, but I found out the hard way. It wasn't worth it. So I sold it. Now you can't even find it on the internet. You can put New York Lotto in your search bar, and it won't come up. You spell out New York Lotto, and it won't come up. It's gone. I think the New York Lottery took it away, took it off the list. So they don't want the competition, especially now that internet gambling and lotto gambling is legal. So, and all these people that bet on sports, you know, they're going to get rich because the Patriots won the Super Bowl or something. You know, they're not. Most of them are going to lose their money. So if they don't cover the point spread, they can still win the game, but not cover the point spread, and you lost. So keep going. But they'll be next year. I do the box. I'm not going to do it this year, but usually I do the boxes. And that's just fun. You know, the odds of winning is slim to none. And my mother won 2 years in a row. She won the boxes. I don't know which quarter, but she won the boxes. And, you know, it's just pot luck, shit luck. It's $5, $10 a box. It's not a big deal. You're not going to get addicted to gambling by playing a box. Now, if you play every box and go to different bars to play boxes, I mean, you're obviously addicted, and that's not the right thing to do then. But, and I only play the boxes when somebody comes to me and says, I'm selling boxes, I buy a box. But I don't go looking for them. I don't go to bars and saying, you selling boxes? I don't do that. So, yeah. You have to be happy with what you have. And if you have nothing, be happy with that. Be happy with having nothing. I know you think I'm crazy for saying that, but I'm not. I'm living in government housing. I pay a couple $100 a month rent. The rest of my check goes in my pocket. I don't have a car. I have an e-bike, which I bought with government money. So I don't work. I haven't worked since 1999. And I'm an accountant. I have a 4-year degree from Hofstra. And I live in New York. And I haven't worked since 1999. So money just doesn't make you happy. I'm very happy. I'm not here complaining about my life. You don't hear me complaining about my life. No. Because there's nothing to complain about. I have a good life. I guess my biggest thing why I have a good life is I haven't had a girlfriend since 2001. It's been happy ever since, But, and I don't plan to change that. And I don't want to change that. The longer you're alone, the harder it is to get into a relationship because you don't want to. You don't want to. It's like when you don't take a shower for a week. It's hard to take a shower because you don't want to. And the same thing. But, it took a while to get used to being alone. It took a little while to get happy being alone, but I did it. I don't want to ruin it. I'm on a hot streak. I don't want to lose it. So, life is what you make it. I don't not talk to girls. I just don't talk to girls with the idea of getting in their pants. And a lot of them want me to get in their pants, and I don't even go in that direction, And they get mad when I don't. They get mad because a girl's whole life is about attraction. And they don't like it when you're not attracted and you're not interested. Because it says, then they start asking, what's wrong with me? Why doesn't he like me? Am I ugly? Is my nose too big? Or my ass too big? Or, It's none of those things. It's just you're a girl and you're a psychopath. I don't want a psychopath in my life, I'm crazy enough alone. I don't need another one. 2 sickies don't make a welly, and I'm not inviting you in. So, because I invite you in, I have to kick you out. I don't want to do that either. I find it harder to get out of a relationship than I do getting in one. And that's why I avoid them. I don't want to get stuck. It comes to a point you don't want to hurt her, but you're hurting every day by being with her. And you want to leave, but you feel like leaving it's got a price. And you don't know if you want to pay that price. So not getting in one has a price too, but it's a lot easier to pay. For most people. For some people, it's not. Some people need to be in a relationship. They need that validation every day from somebody else. I don't need outside validation, I don't care. I don't care what you think. I'm trying to help you. I'm not looking for you to help me. I went to jail for 2 months. I went to psych ward prison for 4 months. It's okay. I saved a lot of money. I got a lot of money now. I bought an e-bike. I got an apartment. I got to buy things from my apartment so I can live, like plates and forks and knives and ice trays, stuff like that. So I need the money, but I don't need the money really. I can live on paper and plastic, but I don't want to. I don't believe in that for the environment, so I wouldn't do that. I do care about the environment. I do care about the earth. The earth gave me life, and I'd like it to be here when I'm gone. I'd like to be better off when I'm gone than when I came. I don't know if that's going to happen. There's an uphill battle there. But, all you people, I hate you people that buy a Tesla and think you've changed the world. Yeah, you have. You made it worse. You made it worse, not better. So, try to get rid of that battery. What are you going to do with it when it doesn't work anymore? You can't afford a new one, first off. And there's no way to throw it away. So, you're creating a problem down the road. Not so much a problem right now, but you're creating a problem down the road that has no answer. So, I don't see how you're making the world a better place. In your mind, you're jerking yourself off and thinking you're getting laid. And you're not getting laid. You're jerking yourself off. So, whatever. It's like Trump. He thinks he's a good president. He's the worst president we ever had. But it's good. It's good for the country to have a bad president. Just like it's good for the country to have a good president. They're not much different. Not much different, just two ends of the same spectrum. And the next president, I would probably guarantee, won't be a Republican. And won't be Vance, that's for sure. And, they'll try to fix the things that Trump did, and the Republicans will fight it. And, stuff like that. It's just a back and forth. It's just a back and forth that goes nowhere. And today he's in charge, and tomorrow somebody else will be in charge, And that's the way it works. And he rigged the election, And when you rig the election, and like he did, and Musk did, you don't have to rig the whole United States. All you got to do is a few pockets where the swing states, where they had to get enough electoral votes. And let's say one or enough of those states, and those were only small pockets, small states. They didn't rig New York or California because they know they were going to be blue states. They're not going to rig those states. But like Minnesota or, little small Arizona or something, small places where they can do it. And Musk had the money to buy up the electors, electing people and all that stuff. And he controlled the computers and all that, but it's not hard to rig elections. We rig elections in every other country that has elections, and we act like they're real elections, and they're not. Like Iraq with the purple finger. Like that was a good election because everybody had a purple finger. It didn't matter about the purple finger. They were throwing away the votes they didn't want and counting the ones they did. So you could have all the purple fingers in the world, but they didn't count your vote unless you voted the way they wanted you to. So they wanted who they wanted, and that's who won. And that's who always wins. So it's no different there, and it's no different here. And like I say with ICE, they're going after the car wash guy. The guy who washes your car and wipes down your car when you come out of the car wash. They're going after him, And the college guy that protests about Gaza, about the mass murder of people and the mass destruction of a whole city, protests about that, and we send you out of the country, which we did. The Israelis didn't blow up Gaza. We did it. Every bomb they dropped was ours. So, it's just hypocritical, it's idiotic. And the funny thing is that foreigner that came here and protested about Gaza was told it was a land of the free. Freedom of speech, you can do whatever you want. And as soon as they did it, they kicked him out of the country. So that's all a big lie. Freedom is a big sales pitch that never materialized. So you keep buying the bullshit, and I'll keep telling you where the bullshit is. And, I'm not trying to change anything but your opinion. Because your opinion is powerful. And if enough of you change your opinion, the world will change. But I don't think I've said anything that's wrong. And if you don't agree with me, that's fine too. I don't care. Go do some research. Go read between the lines. You know, the news lies to you every day. Every single day the news lies to you. So I hope you like it. I hope you like being lied to, because they're never going to stop. The government pays them salary, the corporations pay their salary, so they're the ones that get the truth, their own truth, not your truth. You don't pay their salary.